For you that have been following along today, I've been just trying to kick out as many videos as I can while I'm off. So I'm using my Marco Raffines. They are not the best color pencil. They are just a basic color pencil, but they work well. I mean, it just depends on how much you want to work with them. This is Beautiful Fairy Tales, Goldilocks by Ruth Sanderson. She sent me this and I did a review. And anytime I get a book from an artist, I love to go ahead and do some coloring in it with you. So I am going to do some wood today. That seems to be a problem for a lot of people. And if you just saw me do gold in the last video, I'm keeping a lot of those same colors out. I am going to start, I think I'm just going to start with yellow ochre. So I'm going to start in my lightest area. And because it's wood, I'm going to keep it jagged. Jaggedy? Can I say jaggedy? Is that a word? It is now, huh? So I'm going to use that in there and just keep it really jagged. I want those ends to not be really defined. And I'm doing the lightest areas in the wood. All right, so all of these lightest areas. And I'm going to write down 552 because that's the color I'm using. And I know I'm not going to do the whole thing right now, and I want to go back and finish it later. So I'm going to write down my colors so I know what colors later. 553. So now I'm going to come in and do the in-betweens. I'm making more of a blonde wood than a really dark wood. Main reason is because I know I've got all these other wood pieces and I don't want to use all the same colors on all my woods. Does that make sense? And I can get a little sloppier in here after that first coat. And what this is going to do is deepen it for me just a little bit. See there? And it just spreads that darker color out a bit. Now, let's go ahead and finish this one little area. See, wood is very, I think it's very forgiving. Now, as we get back under the table, it gets darker, doesn't it? Okay, because it's back and underneath. So that was my 552. Now I'm going back to 553. And I'm going to do some of the darks, still keeping it very loose. Can you see what I'm doing? All right, here we go. Hang on. Nope, wrong way. A little bit more. Not too much. All right, and don't bounce. All right. So I'm just getting these darks in. And when you see your book up close, if you've got this one, you're going to see the color much easier, or the grayscale a whole lot easier than what you can see it through the camera. All right, it's just going to look different. There's something to be said for having the book right there in your possession. I had a lady watching YouTube and she said, you know, I've watched and watched and I finally, it was a page I had been doing from my Etsy. She said, I finally broke down and bought your page and I colored along with you. She says, oh my gosh, I get it now. It made all the difference in the world. And it really does. If you color along instead of just watching, it's hands-on and it's just really so different. Now, because we're further back under the table, remember I said it was back, it's back underneath there, this cloth is putting some darkness the tablecloth. That's why it's so light here and it's got more back here. So as we come out, we're going to be using even more of that yellowy ochre color. But I'm going to come in here now and really just do this in the darker because it's way down underneath there. And I can pick up that 552 again and come in here and lighten it some over the top. Don't ever be afraid to add your layers. Okay. And you can see here it's a little bit starting to get lighter. So that's why you want to keep with your colors and just change the amount of the color that you use instead of actually changing colors. Does that make sense? So like out here, and I'm going to go the direction of the wood, out here I can really add a lot more of this lighter shade. Alright, because this is not being shadowed, it's not overshadowed by the tablecloth. And don't cover the whole thing because you do want to be able to come back in and add some of that other color so it just doesn't look like a yellow floor. But this is my base color. So I'm putting some of these in here, and then I'm going to come back through with that other brown that I was using, the 553. Yeah, I'm using 552 right now. That's the only two colors I've used so far. If you've got my conversion charts, then you can look at those and see if there's an equivalent in whatever pencil you're using. I don't know if there is or not. I know a lot of colors do not convert, but you can play with them on those conversion charts until you get something that's close. And then just be sure you record what you used, because I do leave places for that on the conversion charts. Alright. Yeah, I think it's like $7 for the, maybe it's $6, I don't even remember, for the conversion charts. So, okay, so there's the 552. Now we're going over to the 553. And as we came out from under that table, we said we were going to get lighter. So this is the shadow from that leg. See this shadow from this leg? Here's a shadow, here's a shadow. See, I'm too big. You missed all that. Here we go. Let's do it again. So here's a shadow from this one. Here's a shadow from this one. This is all darker shadow from this. Then you've got this is darker because of this. Here's some darker along here because of this. Then here's a shadow for this. So see, in grayscale, those shadows are already there. And see how this one's coming across ever so slightly? We're going to incorporate that in as, and there's some here, as we put this darker shade in now. Because remember, we said we didn't want this to end up being just all blonde, all yellow. So we're going to add some of this in, still keeping it in choppy strokes. Okay, and then right in here was like another knot hole area. Remember this knot hole? There's another one down here. So we're going to come in and choppily add in our knot hole. And if you lose it, it's very easy just to add. Just do some choppies. Just make them arch. I could put one right here. Watch. We're going to come down, then over, and then back up. Then I'm going to do another one right inside, and another one right inside that. Did you see? That's how easy it is to add your own knot holes and grain to stuff. Just keep it choppy. And this we're going to do a little bit darker because it still has some of this, and it's got the high chair and the chair and her. Okay? Did that help? I hope that helps with wood grain. And all I did was 2 colors of pencil. Now I'm going to come in another shade. This one is 563. Do you see how much darker that is? That's going to be these lines. That's the lines between the boards. Okay? And then, because where I use one color, I like to repeat that color somewhere else in the page. I will use this color again with maybe my brown. I'll grab another brown because here's another one already over here. So I'll use 563 with 556, and let's do this little chair. We're also going to add in 502. I know you can't see that, but that is this right here. See, it shows us, because it's grayscale, exactly where the lighter shades are. We don't have to guess at where that's going to be. We just look for the lighter areas and we put on some of this lightest color. Okay? Now notice I don't go all over the whole page and do all the lights. One main reason for that is I would get lost on where I was. I would totally get lost on what was light, what was dark, what color I had used. So just do like one element or area at a time. Now that's enough of this, so I'm going to put that down. That, whoops, right across here is just a bit. That was the number 502. Now let's go to the lighter of the browns. Actually, let's go to the darker, because then I'm going to take the lighter or the middle and fill it in. This is 563, and this is a little bit darker brown. Remember how dark that was? So get all your dark spots. So, and see, I'm still keeping it jaggedy because there is wood grain in this chair. Okay, so keep it jaggedy. Now, I am going to complete each area as I go now so that I don't get lost on what I'm doing. This is 556. So now I'm going to come in and just do this leg. And I'm just lightly going over, trying to remember where my lightest light was when I started, but you know I'm going to go over it too. It's just going to knock it all back a little bit. Okay, so there's one leg. And that looks, I think that pretty well does look like a branch or something that's been, you know, formed down and into the leg. So let's do one of these little cross pieces, because I want to be able to get through most of this, but it very well could take me a bit to do this whole thing. So that was the darks. Now I'm going to come in with 556 and do these 2 cross rungs. Just the 2 of them, just get it on there, okay? Now, let's look at the seat. Let's do that next. The darkest, which is my 563. So I'm going to come in here and get this. See where that's kind of nicked out right there? I want to be sure and keep that. That's part of the personality of this chair. There's some shadow over here. And some shadow right here at the base. Okay, I have to turn for me. I have to make sure I can get to it. So when you're coloring, always be sure that if you can't get the line in the way you want it, turn your book. You know, when I'm teaching painting, we turn our paintings. I just tell them that if they're ever painting a wall, remember, you better get a little more proficient at what you're doing because you can't turn that wall. So when I do murals and stuff on walls, I just have to turn my body or my arm or whatever. Okay, see it was darker in the back because of the shadowing. Let's go back up right. Okay, so there was some shadowing in here and some grain of the wood. There's a little bit of grain in the wood here. I'm going to put just enough to show the illusion of grain. You see, I just did some light lines, not real neat or anything, just some squiggly lines. Just kind of emulates that the grain is there. You've got it here, and it did it on the legs, so why wouldn't it be on the seat? So that's why I did that. Now I'm going to change over to 556, and I'm going to lightly go over everything. I don't want to lose all the color I put down, so in the places where it's lighter, I'm going to keep it a little lighter pressure. Okay. Right here, remember there was that big shiny spot? So I'm going to keep lighter pressure. And then as I come back in here, I can press a little harder. It's going to be okay. And then I've got to turn and go that direction. But then I'll come back in here again. And then I'm going to turn my book. I know, hang on. And then I'm going to go over all that dark shadowed area. And just get that on there. So, because the wood grain was going this way, I'm going to come back at the end now and help put that grain back in. Just by going that way instead. So now we've got the chair, seat, and two of the legs. Want to go ahead and do this? All right, on this one, I'm going to do the darkest, my 563, and I'm going to come this way. It's a little darker here and here because my light's coming from the windows over here, so it's lighter on this side and this area, and then it gets darker over here. All right, so there's really not much dark over here at all. I'm just going to loosely, do you see how far? I'm going to hold my pencil way back. I have no control really, so I can't make the line straight, but I'm just wanting to put in a little bit of grain. Okay, I just did it to put in a few little lines. Now I'm going to change back over to my medium color, my 556, and I'm going to color this all in. Real light touch. I don't want to get this dark because it is on the side that was lightest. Okay. If I think I lost some of that light, I'll bring it back in. What was it, this 502? I'll just bring it back in and put some of that back in here. Okay? So that's that top part. I can even come in here and add some more. Okay, don't be afraid to come back in and just do some blending and lightening up anywhere that you feel you need to. Alright, and in fact, because that 502 is a different shade that's not going to show up, I wrote 502 in black, and then I'm going to put on here that it's a cream, so that whenever I get ready to finish this, I know that that's what that was. But that's what you're going to do. You're just going to keep going and remember to try to go with the grain. Try to figure out which way that grain is going. But see, that looks like a floor and those looks like shadows. We did that together. We walked right through it and you did fine. So now you're going to do the same thing over here. It's going to be lighter where it's light. It's going to be darker way up here, back under here. All right, it's going to be darker on these shadows that are coming out. Yeah, she does a beautiful job really putting the grayscale in where those shadows and stuff would be. Okay, so have fun with this book. Ruth is a very, very talented artist, and I just love her books. Yeah, Wouldn't mind having some more of these. All right, there is her website. This gives you the ISBN. I know that they are available on Amazon. So, yeah, go have some fun. And I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.